Dave. No.
What's up? This is WaWa's Bootcamp episode number 5 here. I am joined today with Porosaurus over here. Hey, Poro, how you doing, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Dave. It's a good day to talk about PUBG.
Yep, okay.
That's a great.
That's what I got.
All right.
That's your catchphrase. That's your catchphrase.
And then in the further corner, we have the EU resident, Krimson. Krimson, how you doing all the way over there, my man?
Yeah, I'm good, Dave. This is like any other day for talking about PUBG.
Yep, it's a good day. A good day.
Yeah, all bad.
Not just any other day, a good day. So in this episode, we're not only going to focus on one topic like we normally do, because there is just so many things going on here within PUBG that influences the competitive scene. So we're going to get right into this because we are on a time crunch with all the types of information for you guys here. So let's get right into this. Let's start it off. With patch notes. Patch notes. I mean, we don't normally talk about it, but there's some patch notes in here that we saw this past week. I believe it's patch number 12. Yeah, number 12. Number 12, which we feel as if it's going to influence the competitive scene. So I'm going to start with you, Krimson. What really stuck out with you on these patch notes?
Yeah, so like from a competitive side, like obviously there's a lot of balance changes to guns and things. Personally, I'm just going to wait and see how that works out for the meta for competitive. We haven't had a chance to really play around with that yet. But the big thing for me, I think, is the changes to swimming, I guess, the water side of things. I don't know if you can break it down, Dave, if you got it.
Oh, I could break it down. I could break it. You want me to break it down?
Yeah, break it down, Dave.
All right, so let's see. As far as the swimming goes, the boats, they now sink when they're destroyed. This is what everybody's been waiting for in the competitive scene. No, I'm just joking. But the actual swimming, we've seen in a couple past months how swimming can play such an influential role on placements in many of the leagues. And they've actually decided to decrease the maximum time that you could be submerged underwater. So it was at 35 seconds, now all the way down to 15 seconds. What are your thoughts on that one, Poro?
I mean, that's a big one, but I think the bigger part is the second half of that, where there's that 4-second interval before when you come out of the water, before you can start actually getting your breath back. So, you can't do the gopher pop up and get some breath back and go back down thing anymore, because once you pop up, you have to wait 4 seconds before you actually start regaining breath. So I think between that and the 15-second thing, yeah, I mean, it's basically going to make nerfed. Going to the water. Yeah,
it's nerfed. They nerfed it.
Unless I think it's a pretty clever move by PUBG Corp, actually, because I think a lot of people were like, oh, just put bullet penetration in, so everyone just fires into the water.
Yeah, they
blindly.
did, and it didn't work.
And it sucked, yeah. But I feel like if they put in like really easy bullet penetration, you just spray into the water, everybody dies. There's no skill really there, right? You just spray the water. This way, at least people can still use the water when they're forced to, because there's going to be times when they're still forced to.
Of course.
And this way, you have to have some aiming skill. You have to still pop those heads when they pop up, but they're going to be there longer, and it's going to actually be possible as opposed to what it currently is.
Well, they just die to drowning. They'll die to drowning.
Or they drown.
So who gets those points? Nobody. Yeah. Nobody gets those points.
Nobody, right?
Everybody.
So what do you guys think about it? Let's spend a couple short time on this one in particular, though. But what do you think? Like, how is this going to affect the competitive scene? I know we see tons of people just opting for that water strategy. I mean, with this nerf to the water, is this going to be the same thing? I mean, or is this going to be nobody goes in the water unless they have to. Like, it's your last option. You have to go in the water. I mean, what are you guys thoughts?
You're going to have to ask the Asian scene about that one, because they're the only ones that still go to the water even when they don't have to. But I mean, I think that you won't see over by Fishtown, anywhere in the river. I don't think you'll see people go to the water anymore, just because the river is so exposed. I think that if they end up with a circle near cliffs, you might still see some people try it, because there's the possibility that maybe the angle won't be there for them to get the shot off. Who knows? But I think overall you'll see a lot less people try to go for the water, because it's no longer an ideal win condition or a placement condition. It's just that's just been removed.
Krimson?
Yeah. I think the other side of that, though, still some cover is better than no cover, right? So when you are stuck on the other side of the river, if you get one of these centralized circles that's 50-50, river runs through the middle of it, there are going to be teams that have to cross. And, when it comes to running across the bridge and getting instantly obviously shot or trying the water, they're still going to have to do that. But I think it's going to cut out a lot of the get a boat, rotate all the way around, come in from, military base sides or, the river between Millie and the main island. I think that's going to cut people out on there, those beach kind of swimmers, that sort of thing, because that's just going to be a turkey shoot, basically.
Turkey shoot. Yep.
A fish suit.
So it sounds like we all kind of agree with this nerf, right? That it's not going to be the same, which is what the people have been asking for. I mean, they've all been asking for it. So it's a good change. It's a good change. Now, talking about another change, level 3 helmets, guys. The level 3 helmets are only going to be found in the crates. How big is this? How big is this in the competitive scene? How's it going to affect it?
So I think it's going to be the first thing I'll say, I guess, I'm going to quote my boy Scoom. He was on the show last week.
Yep. Thanks, Scoom, if you're watching.
Yeah. Thanks, Scoom. He put on Twitter after this. Obviously, I think it's a good change. I think most people think it's a good change, probably. One thing he did point out, just to think about, is that although it seems like you're cutting down the RNG because you're catching the times when, oh, look, a random level 3 helmet, that's mine now, and I'm suddenly stronger. I get cutting that down. But still, he, at least in his opinion, he doesn't think it's going to make people fight over crates that much more. And what it is going to do is, if you look out on a crate, then it's still RNG. A crate lands near your compound, you get it. If it doesn't land near your compound, you don't get it. There's still that element of RNG. So I guess I agree with that point. Everybody thinks, oh, great, that means that, level 3s are out of the equation, but they're not. They're still going to be, for whichever team happens upon the crate kind of thing, which, it's not going to make as big a change, I think, as maybe
as we think it will. Like. Poro, any thoughts on this one?
I tend to agree. I mean, nobody ever really likes fighting over crates or anything, mid game, late game, but I can see where the argument could be made where crates are now kind of they would kind of get included in a win condition, right? So if you drop by a crate and say you pick up a level 3 helmet and you also pick up an ALM or any other sniper rifle, all of a sudden your team just becomes that much powerful, exponentially stronger than every other team. I mean, that's you can peek. You have the ability to peek as much as you want. You've got one-shot headshots. I mean, it makes it really does make your team that much stronger. So, even though I don't expect people to fight over the crates, I can see the argument for why they would.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually thinking they will now. I mean, before we see them, they just pass up the crates. It's not worth it. But you kind of said, it sounds like it might be worth it, Poro.
And if you include into this, you can't just don't just look at it as a one thing, right? But also look at the fact that we also have now 3x scopes, 6x scopes, the 8x scopes that can only go on snipers and DMRs. The additional of a new DMR, which from all reports is ridiculously strong. All of these things that give you range and power, and now you can only get a level 2 helmet to fight against that. So I mean, it's going to be interesting. I obviously I don't know how it's going to play out just yet.
That's for next week. After
once we start seeing how these pros played out. But you think about all the fights that we've had in the past where everything is kind of determined by that first down, that first headshot, and how things are then pushed upon after that. But when you see how weak supposedly the 5.56 ARs are now, and how strong the DMRs are feeling right now, and how strong these snipers are, and added to that there's level 2 helmets are going to be popping off like left and right during these rounds. So I mean, I think we're going to get to the end of the game and there's going to be nobody with a helmet, and if you've got that one freaking guy on that one freaking team with the level 3 helmet and the arm,
he's going to be a tank.
It's going to be ridiculous.
He's going to be a beast.
So I don't know. I'm gonna be definitely keeping a very close eye once this patch hits live. If it hits live in its current incarnation, which who's to say? But if it does hit live the way it does, and we see this kind of rolling into competitive, I'm going to be really, really interested to see how many of these late top 4, top number 1 teams are teams that have a level 3 helmet.
Yeah. All right. So, like you mentioned, there's so much new things in this patch number 12. But we're actually going to wait, kind of see how it plays out, and then talk about it in the upcoming episodes. There's new weapon nerfs, buffs. There's new grips. There are even new vehicles in Miramar, and Miramar as a whole, they changed that as well. Hey, Poro, stay out of there. I like the new vehicle. As a whole, they changed Miramar. So I mean, players might like it a little better.
It seems really good for the game in general. I mean, competitive side aside, like new things is awesome. The new map changes.
Yeah, new things. We all love new things. The SLR. We love new things. New shiny things.
NA loves new things.
Okay,
for sure. It's in our DNA over here in America.
Yeah.
No one in EU is using the new car anytime soon.
You guys like the old school stuff. You use
like Krimson still lives in a castle.
Yeah, Krimson still lives in a castle. So.
Hey, map selection, man. Never have to go back to the desert. Let's go.
Well, so we're gonna let it play out. We're gonna revisit this topic later on once when we gather more information, like Poro mentioned. So let's transition on over. Have some more important competitive things going on all around us. Let's get into the DreamHack. We saw the qualifiers this past week. A little drama with NA. We'll let Poro explain that here in a minute. But Crimson, can you break down kind of how the format for DreamHack worked out?
Yeah, so the format for DreamHack, I'm going to go through it as fast as I can, right? There is a bunch of best of 3s in brackets. There's EU and NA, and in each best of 3, a certain amount of teams get through to the next round of best of 3s, and then the next round of best of 3s, next round of best of 3s, and they get through to the final part. This is the open qualifiers, by the way. They get through to the final last 2, where the top 4 teams of those best of 3s go through. Then those 8 teams play against the 8 invited teams in the closed qualifiers, which we just saw the EU closed qualifiers last weekend. Which were casted, from the studio, etc. That was the closed qualifiers for EU last weekend. Top 3 teams go through from that. Then next weekend we got the NA closed qualifiers, which same thing happens. Top 3 go through. Then they replace 3 teams in the following week. So in this case, 2 weeks from now, it'll be the second EU closed qualifiers. They replace 3 teams. They put 3 more teams in there. And then the top 2 of that best of 10 go through.
Sounds confusing, but thank you for that.
But ultimately, you get 5 teams going through from EU, from NA, and they've slogged it out pretty hard. So
Yeah. So if you want a visual, challengermode.com, by the way, study that. But Crimson basically covered it. So what happened with EU then? Who's moving on up? Who should we expect here? I mean, who is doing?
Yeah,
good?
I mean, it was nothing surprising. Nothing really surprising, I guess. You got FaZe and Liquid going through. That's pretty much a given. Kingwin went through, which is good for them because I think they've been a little bit up and down recently. They played hard against Vitality, Na'Vi. Basically, all the big names are up there. Some teams I know were probably pretty disappointed. Crimson, for example, they're normally doing quite well, but they didn't have a very good tournament at all.
So they're out then, right? They're gone. They're
they have this second chance thing that I'm talking about. So they have this second best of 10 to play, where 3 extra teams that only just failed to get into this closed qualifiers, they get them in for another closed qualifiers, so there'll be 3 extra teams to replace.
And is this the bring your own computer second chance that you're referring to, or is that a third
this
chance?
Is another online closed qualifiers.
So is there 3 chances? Is there 3 chances?
Yeah. If you fail that and your org has got some money for some plane tickets, you can get.
They really want you to go. They really want you to go.
Bring some computers. You can have another chance to qualify. Yeah.
I mean, I like that. I mean, I think that's all right. That's all right for teams. I mean, that really want to grind it.
It's okay with teams with money, and it's not so good if you for the EU side.
I mean, they could just ask you for the money, right? You'll buy the tickets. You live in a castle after all.
Just hit me up. Yeah.
Hit you up. So Poro then. I know you're real passionate about the NA side of the DreamHack. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Super passionate.
So passionate. Lay it on us, man. Lay it on us.
Ripping shirts.
Don't rip your shirt. Don't rip your shirt.
No, okay. We don't want to do that. So yeah, the first round was this past weekend. I'm actually. I hate the best of 3 crap. I think it's awful, and you see teams that are actually really good. It's basically best of 3. You have to win. You have to win a game. That's it. if you don't win a game, you don't go on. And unfortunately, teams like Dare, teams like God Squad, FlyQuest, Space Station, Affinity for PUBG. I mean, these are teams that are really, really good and that deserve to have a shot at this, but they don't get that now because of this 3-team best of 3 game, nonsense or whatever. And then we finally make our way through. We get to the last couple of rounds. Now we did see some good teams that we have heard of in the past that did make it to the top 4. So we have Team Dignitas, we have Trifecta, we have Mad Risky's team.
Hooligans, they've been grinding it out.
Hooligans is on a tear right now. Wild Card, maybe we'll see them at their first ever LAN. Who knows? WaWa's Bootcamp Black,
hey!
and then okay.
Shout out to the WaWas. Nice job, guys.
Shout out to them. But and then at the end we have Viper Esports. Now, there's a lot of rumors about this team. And I don't know how many of them are true. But it's got 2 players, Swole Marone and Karthus, that kind of have a history of being kind of notable. I'll call them what they are. They're hackers, and they're making it to this top 4. They're making it to this close qualifier round. And I'm looking at all these teams that didn't get a chance to go, and and I see the pros in their discords, and they're complaining and constantly talking. They're reporting this stuff, and nothing's getting done. But at the end of the day, it's like these guys are messing with your money. Like these guys are in here, and I know he's like a meme in the community or whatever, but like there's a point in time where the pro community kind of needs to stand up and say, like, all right, enough's enough. Like, this guy's messing with our paycheck. He's messing with our career at this point. So, like, what are you going to do as a community to make sure that this kind of thing never happens again? And I mean, and that's all. Like I said, this is all kind of stuff based on conjecture.
Rumors.
Maybe
I can't back it. I can't back it, Poro. I can't.
I know he's your homie. I know Swole's your dude, but. I
mean, he's a nice guy. I wouldn't say my dude. He's a nice guy. I like him. I don't follow up on accusations unless there's proof, and I let the admins handle it. I mean, that's their job. Let them handle it.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
that's true.
Taking it away from that, right? This is one of the issues with open qualifiers. We talked about that in previous episodes.
Yeah, and I mean, it's something that we said was going to happen, and here it is. Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah, and there it is. Well, potentially, there it is.
Hey, not confirmed.
Poro seems confirmed, but we can't confirm.
Well, look. I mean, hey, I go off of the opinions of guys that I know and I trust, and these pro community guys, these pro players that I've worked with and talked to for over a year now. And if a majority of them are just kind of like rolling their eyes and saying like, oh my God, this guy is clearly like I don't know.
Well, then
I'm going to take their word for it. Yeah. But I really want to see them kind of step up and kind of do something to
as a community. I mean, that's what we're all here for. We're a community podcast or whatever. And I mean,
a similar, I say similar situation, but is on the EU side with the Cursed Child. I don't know if you saw this. This was the Cursed Childs before, but they disqualified Tiger Mafia for hacking based on
hacking
a clip.
Hacking.
Yeah. Well, that's
we found out a couple hours
story,
later,
right? Yeah, and then a few hours later, they reviewed the evidence and found it, the opposite way. And the main reason I'm bringing it up, right, is it's so hard in PUBG to confirm accusations. I mean, I do a lot of it with PUBG Online. I get a lot of reports from people, and there's a lot of times when you think this is ridiculous, but there's a lot of times when you think, this guy's just better than you, and it's really hard. And I guess my point is, we'd love more support from PUBG Corp on this sort of thing, because there's only so much we can do from bad replays, bad spectators, bad clips on Twitch, and it's really hard. And at the end of the day, you don't want to end up with somebody who's a legit player getting called out and
which happens
out.
a lot.
Yeah.
So that's why you gotta send your clips to Krimson. He's the hacker detector here. You heard it here first. So
Well, we try our best.
Viper
but it's not-
Esports,
it's
better
not
watch
something-
out if you are doing something bad. Crimson's on the case.
And look, if you know, and I'll go on record as saying this right now. If Viper ends up making it to the land and they end up blowing everybody up, then I will 100% eat my words. I will go. You know, I will walk. I'll be there. I'll be there in Austin. So I will walk up to Swolmarone. I'll walk up to Carthez, and I will say that I am legitimately sorry, and I will be their number one fan from that point on, their biggest proponent, their biggest supporter. But I need to see it first.
Until then, yeah.
I do like their logo, so if they want to send me a jersey, shout out to Mustache Dave, I'll wear it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Wild Card. Like you said, Poro, I'm hoping that they make it to the land. We'll get to see them at a land. That's exciting for me because, you know, I've been in Kickstarter's corner for quite some time now. Let's transition over. We got about 10 more minutes left, unless you guys want to add anything else to the DreamHack topic. But we also have a very big topic as well, kind of rolling on over. Are we good? Are we good to transition on over?
We're good. Let's go.
We're good. Poro, you okay, man? You okay, Poro?
I'm okay.
All
okay.
right. Hey,
little
listen,
hungry.
if you got
Calm
comments,
down, man.
questions, or concerns, you know where to find any of us. We're all in the community. So easy, right? I'll send you his address. You can mail him some poop. Hey, okay, so coming on in, we got the PGI $100,000 being announced, I believe, today on the ESLgaming.com website. Very exciting news. I mean, they have the format with the regions, the seeds. They have the different phases. There's phase 1, phase 2, and then the final phase. Crimson, you want to cover the phases real quick before we, cover the phases, man. Cover the phases.
Yeah. So basically, it's a lot of teams, right? 1,200 teams start off in the qualifiers. They're going to run through. Remember, these are 20-team lobbies. That's, you know, something to
20-team lobbies?
mention. 20-team lobbies, like it or not, but there's 20-team lobbies.
Well, you guys don't like it from last episode. I like it.
Yeah, we don't like it. We don't like it, but it's going to happen. So there we go. They
suck
get
it up.
reduced down to 320 teams for phase 2. So I think those are like best of 4s, I think. So not, you know, it's not a lot of games really to get yourself through the qualifiers. No, sorry, I'm just reading it now. It's only best of 3 for the first 1,200 teams.
Once
So
again, Poro
it's
hates that.
basically
So
roll the dice on that one.
Why even bother?
Yeah, just pick some names out of a hat. Get into the second round of qualifiers.
if you do make it,
If you make it through that, you got a best of 4 after that with the top 5
advance to the
each
next
group
round.
going through, and then you got an offline qualifying event, which is in the UK, which is cool stuff. Where that'll be the last 20 teams, obviously, that get through, and then
That's
I
3
think
days.
it's the top. That's across 3 days.
5
so that's going to
matches per day.
be 15 games. Yeah, so that's good if
That's
you
good.
get
That's
to that point, you know, which is
And then
you
the
know,
top
gonna be
3.
difficult.
Yeah, the top
And
3
then
from there.
the top 3 actually go through to the $2 million, and everybody gets some money as well, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's 100 grand prize pool, all the way down to £1,000 if just for showing up to that offline event.
Just for showing up, you can
That's good.
finish
Just for showing
20th place. 20th place, still get $1,000. I'm sure
Well,
that's for your whole squad, but still,
It's $1,000
Yeah.
freedom dollars. Not $1,000.
freedom
Yeah,
dollars,
yeah.
freedom dollars. So Poro, then, what's so exciting about this? What are you excited about, at least?
Well, not the 3-team thing, but I mean, I think it's cool because I think that for this final qualifier to see who all's going to get to go to PGI, taking place at a LAN, for one, taking place in UK, by the way. Also, that's really exciting. Glad to see that UK
shout
is
out.
actually getting
ESO UK got some swing over here. That's why.
Yeah,
Got that swing, boy. Hey, my passport's in the mail, by the way. I'm waiting for it. So if you're out there watching,
Yeah, we'll see
I'll
you
be
later.
ready. I'll be ready. So.
ESL has to have swings somewhere, I guess. But so just the fact that they're doing this as a LAN just builds the hype that much more for PGI. I mean, as we already know, I mean, PGI, the hype is already off the chain for the $2 million prize pool. But you know, I'm gonna say, like, I almost feel like the EU LAN is going to be the last competitive thing that we'll see for PGI. Well, unless they, of course, they do an NA LAN. If they follow this up with an NA
I mean,
LAN,
I'm
that would be pretty lit,
presuming
but
they're
I would
going to
hope
do
so.
something like this for all the regions.
I would
They
think
just
so, too.
haven't said anything yet. But I'm going to be interested. I mean, obviously, it has to be a different format for a 1-slot invitation. Like
Yeah.
the Middle Eastern version of this is not going to be a 20,
They don't
even have
1,200
servers.
team tournament. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It's
I don't
probably
know.
about 5 teams. In the Middle East.
Oceania, yeah, they all get 1 slot.
Shout out
South
to the Middle East
America, Latin
community.
America, 1 slot. Japan, 2
Which-
slots. People's Republic of China, 2 slots. Republic of Korea 2 slots, CIS 2 slots,
Yeah,
Asia 3
CIS
slots, and
a
Europe
Vanguard
3
and-
North American. So
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see. They're going to mix up the format, I assume, or possibly they do the same format.
hopefully the
and
same
they
for
end it
NA.
with-
Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume the one that get 3 seeds. I assume they're going to follow this
Assume.
format
This is all us
the way
assuming.
through. It's just assumptions. But the other ones, the 2s and the 1s, I mean, I don't. Are they going to do
Yeah,
the same
that's
thing and just the
strange.
top team goes
Maybe
through
they'll
and the others don't?
just send it to them. Hey, here you go.
Yeah.
Here you go.
I mean, are they going to put 100 grand into the Middle East, North African qualifiers?
If so, then we need to sign up. We need to make our squad.
Yeah, exactly. If so,
We need
get
to go
moving
fly
over
out.
there. But they said
Yeah.
this last time, I think. But yeah, get yourself
That's
to Dubai.
easy money. That'd
flat,
be
and then
easy
off you
money.
go. Yeah.
Easy.
Gaming has to
That was
Dubai.
Sweet Dubai weekend. It'd be
All right,
awesome.
so if it does happen in the NA, where do we want it to happen, Poro? Since you and me are, in the NA, I know you probably want it in Austin.
I know. Nah,
Where?
Austin already has DreamHack. I want Miami, man.
Oh,
I want to be able to.
Miami!
I need to go
I'd be
down to
lit.
Miami
I'd
and
be
visit
lit.
my boy.
That'd be lit. Miami, guys. ESL, if you're watching, we want it in Miami. It's anonymous. All right,
Or New Orleans, Miami or New Orleans. That's
Okay.
that's the only two
capital.
places. Only 2 places where you can have.
All right, so we got about 4 minutes left here. Anything else you want to add to the PGI discussion? I mean, it's exciting. It's exciting. Personally, I like the format. I know the best of 3 isn't the most optimal for you, Poro, but you got to think about it. 1,280 teams. I mean,
Yeah. It's
that's a
all
lot of
online.
I mean,
teams.
yeah.
That's a lot of
the
teams.
upside, if you think of it this way, 1,280 teams, like 90% of them are not going to be good, or at least not up to the level of the good teams. So it should, in theory, you get put into a best of 3 competition with 20 teams. It's going to be like FaZe and 19 other no-name teams, right?
You guys
So
are
you
both
would,
toxic.
no,
You guys are
okay.
both toxic today.
No, okay, look, but you
Yeah,
also
yeah.
you have 1,280 teams. You have a bunch of nobody teams, but you have 20 team lobbies.
yeah.
So
yeah, that's gonna
basically,
be rough.
And
in,
RNG.
in a best of 3. So you could have you could have a best team in the world, FaZe, that was just making a transition on the first map, gets mowed down by some team that shouldn't even be where they're at, and all of a sudden,
Yeah,
boom,
yeah.
like they're playing from behind, and unless they actually if they have one bad 3-game set, they're not in it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, we were.
I
assuming
guarantee
this
you
is
that's going to happen
all-
to somebody.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to see some major upsets in this format, and I think you're going to see some teams going out that should be probably at least in the final LAN in the UK, in the CU region, for example. Like, that's going to be really rough, but we'll wait and see.
All right. Well, stay tuned. I
Practice
mean,
your,
the phase 1 is
pump
May
stomping,
7th.
everyone.
Yeah, the phase 1 is May 7th through the 15th. So that's coming on
Yeah, that's
up here.
coming soon.
Phase
Yeah.
2 is May 19th through the 27th. And then the offline qualifier in the UK is June 29th through July 1st. So
That's my birthday. Fly
your
me
birthday.
out,
Fly me out.
Crimson. Crimson,
There you go.
fly me
Yeah.
out.
Let me get my castle money.
So
I'll
July
pay for
1st
it.
though, when's DreamHack though? Isn't DreamHack like the 4th or when's
June.
June? Oh,
It's
June. I'm crazy.
First
Yeah,
weekend
yeah.
of June.
First weekend of June. All right, well, guys, let's wrap this one up here. We got 2 minutes left here. Crimson, where can they find you if they want to reach out and if they're one of these 19 teams that you said are going to suck on LAN? Where can they find
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, if they're gonna suck, they need to. They can hit me up on Twitter if they want, but that's the best place. But yeah, competitive Reddit. We mentioned it last time as well. Like we want to grow that Reddit. If you like Reddit, get on there. There's a lot of some really good articles and stuff, and analysts coming out. People doing VOD reviews, people doing all the news and everything is there. So it's a really good place to check out if you're interested in this sort of thing. So.
And all right, Poro Store. Sorry, Viper Esports are going to hit you up here. So where can they find you?
You can find me right there at @PoorSource_NA. Come at me.
Come
like
at
I said, or you could find me. You can find me in the test server, swinging, dual wielding AKs because that gun is so OP right now and powerful and
AK is
feeling great.
big.
So AK is back, baby, and I love it. I love
All right. What's your name on the test server though? Is it Poro Store?
I don't know actually.
Somebody out there took
Dude,
Ben
there's
Harris.
there's 3 servers right now. I can't keep up with like
somebody out there took a
bullcrap
Fuzzy
names.
Seal's name, and we got into a gunfight, and it wasn't even him. I found out. So
That's awesome.
it's awesome. But
Denied, Dave.
Denied. Yeah, I felt.
I think I might be not. I think I might be not Porosaurus.
Not okay. So it's not Poro. All right. Well,
Because I have to have that ego to think that like everybody would know who Porosaurus is, so I put the not in front of it. So
what about the real Porosaurus? You're the real one.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's so many other ones out there.
that name is almost 100% likely to be available on the test server right now.
Go take it. Go take it, guys. You got some time. So yeah, go on the competitive Reddit. Leave us some comments. Maybe if you want to be the 4th on the show. I mean, we had Scoom last week. He gave us great insight. We're always willing to work with anybody. We're part of the community. We are the community. So
we are the community.
We are
We're
the
the
community.
three-man
We're the
Let's
only
go.
people here.
We're the ego of the community. What is this? EU Discord?
We are the community here. We got everybody. So
That's what's
this
sad.
has been the 5th episode of WaWa's Boot Camp. Make sure you tune in next time. Stay up to date. We'll see you next time, guys and girls.